Yes, it's week 16 in the National Football League as we get you ready for another exciting weekend of NFL action. Holiday filled as we've got a ton of Saturday games, Christmas Eve. We got 3 Christmas Day games. We got a Monday game, and we're doing a Thursday game. That's why we are actually premiering this on Thursday. It's Football Friday on a Thursday. And yes, this is going to be a crossover, even though we could not have Nick and Tom. And before we get started here, everybody here at Empty the Bench Podcast Network wants to send our thoughts and prayers with Tom. His grandfather passed away this week, and we've been thinking about him throughout. Now, Tom did give us his picks, though. We do have his picks, so that's good. But, Tom, we are thinking of you as we do these picks. And, of course, obviously the big news also that we're thinking about, the football world lost a great this week in Franco Harris, and that's going to be some scene there Saturday night, Christmas Eve night, between the Raiders and the Steelers. But we will get to that as well. Guys, this is going to be some week, a very critical week for a lot of teams here as we come down the stretch. We've got 3 more weeks to do this in the regular season. So are you ready to do this?
Let's go.
All right, and Hank and I both went 7-8-1 last week. We're going to try and get a winning record for you all this week. But let's find out what we could do here for week 16 in the National Football League. Nick, we're going to get it going with you. It's an Al, Kirk, and Kaylee special on Amazon as the Jacksonville Jaguars take on the New York Jets. It is Trevor Lawrence versus Zach Wilson, number 1 versus number 2 in the 2021 NFL Draft. And this line's fluctuated throughout the week. Your Jets are a 1.5 favorite.
By the way, you're forgetting an extra announcer duo or trio this week for this game.
What's that?
Hey, we're doing this game.
Oh, that's right. It is also, in fact, a Nick, and Tom special on the Empty the Bench Podcast Network.
So, yes, we are doing this game. This is going to be a lot of fun. If you want to hear a squabbling Jets fan yell at a screen for 3 hours, then come watch.
Well, I'm curious. This game a couple of weeks ago, you weren't really thinking this was going to be a great one to do a live stream on, but now all of a sudden it's become a huge game for both the Jaguars and your Jets. So you've actually picked a huge matchup. Yeah,
but you're not going to be shocked what I say about this. I'm taking the Jaguars in an upset special.
Interesting. All right. Now this line has fluctuated throughout, so it's pretty much like a pick 'em, but 1.5 point favorite. Nick's going to go upset. Hank, what do you think?
I think you guys know where I'm going to be going with this, and I'm just going to say this right here, right now. Trevor Lawrence is him. Jaguars are winning this game. Enough said.
Ooh, looks like I'm going to be the lone wolf to start this week. So this is another case, like I said, the Jets are getting an opponent at the worst time, but I don't think it's going to be the quarterbacks that are going to determine this game. I think it's going to be the defenses, and the Jaguars defense is still a question mark, and also no Trayvon Walker this week. I think that's a big deal there for Jacksonville. Jets still have a good defense. I'd like to see them, though, take it to the next step and actually get a turnover, force a turnover in this spot. But I'm going to trust the defenses. I would take the under as a play in this one, and I will take the Jets to win and cover on Thursday night in a huge game for both teams. Really, the other thing I would look at in this game, Nick, which team needs this game more? To me, I think it's the Jets. I think.
That's not even a question. The Jets absolutely need this more to even make the playoffs. I think they're on that. I saw the graphic for the elimination teams. They don't win. They're now in the elimination group. So yes, they definitely need the game. But Hank, I'm going to pull this one out for you because I was shocked because I thought this was going to go the opposite way, and I thought Johnny was going to be the lone on the Jaguars. But I'm going to say,
wow.
Because I really thought you were going to be the lone one the other way, but I'm surprised.
Well, see, now normally my motto would be you take the team with the better coach and the better quarterback, and both of those are with Jacksonville. But I just think defenses are going to play a big role in this one, and Trayvon Walker not being there. I mean, when you think about the Jet game last week, Zach Wilson was not the reason why the Jets lost that game. He wasn't the second reason. He wasn't the third reason. He wasn't the fourth reason. He wasn't the fifth reason. So, I'm not going to say that he's going to outduel Trevor Lawrence, but I'm going to say the defenses do play a factor here. And only a 1.5 point. I mean, I'm going to do it. Jets minus 1.5 for me. Nick and Hank will both take Jacksonville to start week 16.
I have the other picks. I have the other picks as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You've got Nick and Tom's. I forgot. What do they have?
So Tom has the Jaguars. I think just straight up. I guess he took the Jaguars.
Okay.
And then Nick. Oh, Nick had the Jets.
Okay, so I'm not going to be the lone wolf this week. Excellent to at least start. But we will differ here in game number 1. Hank, it is a Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma, Shannon Spake special on the NFL on Fox. It is Desmond Ridder and the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Baltimore Ravens. And the Ravens are 7.5-point home favorites.
7.5-point favorites for the Ravens. See, I think that's a little too high, don't you guys? I am going to have to go with, I don't know if I'm calling it an upset special because, I mean, I still think the Ravens are going to win this game, but I don't know. I don't like the idea of giving the Ravens a 7.5-point spread, especially when you look at a lot of the games they've lost this season, which was them pretty much choking their way to like what probably should have been like easy victories.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
I'm giving the Falcons to cover, but the Ravens win.
Huh. Okay. This game is
Didn't see
interesting.
that coming now, did you?
No, I didn't. The Ravens are a little confusing to me. I think I've said this over the last couple of weeks because, again, their quarterback situation is a mess in every way, shape, or form. Now, Desmond Ridder is a question mark. We know that because, again, he hasn't really played. It's been Mariota who's been playing. So they're saying they removed him due to inconsistency, or due to injury. I think they really removed him for inconsistency because they just needed to move on. That being said, I still think the Ravens are the better team. Now, I do this very rarely, what I'm about to say. I'm taking the Ravens, but I'm taking them not to cover. You know that. I'm rare. I don't usually pick a winner and take a non-cover.
Yeah.
So I'm taking the Ravens, but not cover. I think it's gonna be essentially somewhere between a field goal and a touchdown. Yeah.
So you agree with me essentially?
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna disagree again, but let's start with this. I wonder how Kenny, Jonathan, and Shannon are going to top last week's game they called between the Patriots and the Raiders. I don't know if they could top that. But let's start with the obvious in this game. You know, the Ravens need Lamar Jackson back in the worst way because the passing game is definitely struggling. But the Falcons, they have defensive issues, and so I think that actually can help. Whether it's going to, I don't think it's going to be Lamar. I mean, it looks like it might be Tyler Huntley there again, but Desmond Ridder was just okay in his first start last week, and that was not against a good team. And this is a much better defensive squad. The only reason why I'd be worried about taking them laying the 7.5 is I don't know if they're going to be able to score enough to lay 7.5, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the Ravens to win and cover in game number 2.
Let's see. The Tom has the Ravens no cover also, okay. and Nick has the Ravens with money. So
okay, so Nick and I. So once again, Fodera and I will be on the same team, and the other 3 will go the other way. But we'll find out what happens over there in Baltimore. It is a Chris Myers, Robert Smith, and Jen Hale special on the NFL on Fox. It is the Detroit Lions taking on the Carolina Panthers, and it's a big game, an important game for both teams in terms of playoff implications, guys. And the Lions are the 3-point favorites in this one.
Yeah.
Nick, go ahead.
This one, the Lions are playing good football. I think that's pretty much the way you look at it. I think the Lions have a better coach in this situation. I think the Lions are a better offensive team in this situation. I think they're just a better overall team in this situation. I would take them to cover here.
Yeah, that you said well said. I think this Lions offense is going to be a big challenge for this Carolina defense. I'm going to take the Detroit to win and cover here down in Carolina.
Nick, Johnny, upset special.
What?
Wow.
What? You went there?
Sometimes with him though, I have to read his mind and see if he's joking, but I don't think he's joking this.
Wait a minute. You're not joking on this one?
Nope. And let me explain why. Because the Panthers have had a much better second half. They've had some unlikely wins this year, and you know, on the surface, this looks like another unlikely win because the Lions have just been so hot in the second half. But here's why I'm going to take the Panthers. I feel like, and as Michael K would say, I believe in do. I think the Lions are due to lose a game. So this just smells like letdown city for the Detroit Lions. Give me the Panthers.
Wow. Did not see that one coming.
It's not a crazy thought. Carolina's been one of those teams this year. I mean, I took them they actually were the favorites last week when they.
And this is around the time where you see a good amount of crazy upsets.
Yeah, that is for sure. And we'll see what happens down there in Carolina in game number 3. And Nick and Tom have.
Let's see. The Tom has the Lions taking. Oh, they both have the Lions taking the money there.
All right, so Hank's going to be the lone wolf in game number 3. Hank, it's a Greg Gumbel, Adam Archuleta, AJ Ross special on the NFL on CBS. It is Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills taking on the Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears. The Bears are getting 8.5 points.
Go ahead, Hank.
As far as the Bears go, I would say 8.5 to cover for them is just right. So, and as far as the Bills go, do I really need to explain to you why I'm pretty much on the Bills train? I mean, you know how highly I think of that team. Even though they may have a bit of cracks in their squad, they're still incredibly loaded. They're not losing this game. Give me Buffalo.
Yeah, I mean, this is my lock this week. Bills over the Bears. I know people are going to say, oh, cop out. You're going against the Bears. I mean, heck, if you've seen some of the games I've locked on this year, I've been pretty accurate on some very close games on locks, tough games. But this is as obvious as it gets. Bills cover. I think they could cover in double digits possibly in this game. Take the money, and I'm locking on this one.
Yeah, so when I was thinking about this, I kind of felt like this has a repeat of last week where, the Bears are home. They're a huge underdog to a team that's playing technically a sandwich game because the Bills play the Bengals next week after they beat the Dolphins last week. And you saw with the Eagles, they had the Giants, and now they're playing the Cowboys. But the only difference this week, guys, is that it's not going to be like that. I think Josh Allen's going to put up a ton of points for the Bills, and they're going to keep rolling here. We are all in agreement here. We're all going to take the Bills to win and cover in Chicago.
Add the other two also. It's a clean sweep.
Clean sweep at Soldier Field between the Bills and the Bears. Nick, it's Spiro, Jay, and Aditi on the NFL on CBS. It is the New Orleans Saints taking on Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns, with the Browns 2.5-point favorites.
See, this is the only game that Deshaun Watson would be favored in a game due to the dumpster fire situation with the Saints quarterback situation. Now, Andy Dalton, I like Andy Dalton. I was a fan, but how can you be a fan of the Saints team? And again, Hank, I think you and I are thinking the same thing. We don't want to favor Deshaun Watson in any game whatsoever. We don't, as frustrating as that is in every way, shape, or form. But unfortunately, in this situation, you have to take them to cover because the Saints are so bad. So I'm taking them to cover.
Yeah, that is my exact same line of thinking. As much as I don't like the idea of picking the Browns, just because, you know how the Browns have been this year. They're just a loser franchise, and they stooped so low to the point where they're like, hey, let's trade for Deshaun Watson. We don't care about his criminal history. But rules are rules. You have to pick who you feel is the better team. And in this case, you still have Nick Chubb and Myles Garrett on that team. So I have to go with the Browns. And I can't say I feel great about that.
Well, they're only laying 2.5 points in this one, and that's one of the reasons I am going to take them. And this will be one of my, I don't know if you can say bold picks, but I'll just come out and say it like this. I think this is going to be Deshaun Watson's best game of the season to date here. When you look at the way this Saints team operates, but they're such a tough team to figure out here too. I mean, I went against them last week, but as I've said on prior football segment shows before, the Saints are Jekyll and Hyde when it comes to home and road. And I think Watson's going to be able to have a good enough game in this one. And I'm only laying 2.5. So even if the Browns sneak out a field goal win, that's good enough. I'm going to take Cleveland to win and cover in this one.
This is a clean sweep. I hate that it's a clean sweep and that we're all taking Deshaun Watson, but it's a clean sweep.
Well, I think it's more the matchup than Deshaun Watson. Man, this would have been a spot that if Jacoby Brissett was starting, I still would have taken the Browns to win and cover as well. So a clean sweep along the lines in this one. Nick, it's your crew. It's Kevin Kugler, Mark Sanchez, and Laura Oakman on the NFL on Fox. It is Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks taking on Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Chiefs a 10-point favorite at home.
See, this game really shouldn't be as close as, like, it could be a closer game, but like I said the last couple of weeks, the Seahawks have ran out of gas, and Geno Smith has run out of gas. Now, he will win the comeback player of the year because he's played really well all year, but I just think Seattle is just out of gas. The tank is on empty. The Chiefs are playing well. Patrick Mahomes is going to be the MVP this year until, it was close with Jalen Hurts until Jalen Hurts got hurt, and it's probably not going to play down the stretch. Chiefs cover.
Hank, what do you think?
Well, I mean, you probably know my take on the Jalen Hurts and the MVP race, but I'm going to get to that when we talk about the Eagles. Yeah, give me the Chiefs. I think Seattle is playing over their heads, and eventually the clock strikes midnight and Geno Smith turns into a pumpkin.
Wrong holiday.
Well,
You
yeah, but you get
Christmas.
the idea.
I know.
Oh boy, I tell you what, I don't know why I'm struggling with this game, but I am, because if you look at the Chiefs the last couple of weeks, guys, they're winning games, but they have looked off the last few weeks. I mean, they really struggled just to get past the Texans last week. But Nick, I agree with you 100%. Seattle's fading. It's a must-win game for them, but they're doing it in a very tough place to play, and their defense has major issues. Geno's come back to earth a bit. Eventually, and I stress the word eventually, Patrick Mahomes is going to light up a team, and he has to eventually do it at home, where the Chiefs have not been covering a lot in 2022.
Which is interesting because they're usually one of the better home teams in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, they're winning, but they're just not covering. That's the thing. So if you were putting money on them, I mean, you would probably be in the hole if you were taking Kansas City a lot this year.
You probably would be.
But Seattle's fading so much that I think the only play in this one has to be Kansas City, even though they're laying 2 scores. I'm gonna do it once again for at least the 3 of us. It's going to be a clean sweep.
Now, the one thing I will say is Geno is interception prone, so if you're going to get a few pick sixes probably out of Geno, so that might help the cover case in this regard.
His running back also being out. You know, Kenneth Walker's been out. That's not helping the cause too. I mean, if you're going to force him to be airing the ball out, we saw that 2 weeks ago against Carolina at home. I mean, that's what he had to do because he didn't have any running attack, and he got exposed.
All right, so Nick has the Chiefs covering, and Tom has the Chiefs but not covering.
Oh, so he's taking Seattle plus 10. You know what? And that's not a crazy play in this spot.
Hey, a touchdown and a field goal is a lot to cover sometimes. So we'll see what happens.
I think they did it against Jacksonville, but against a lot of the other teams, they just have not been able to do that. But this really, to me, is almost more of a play on Seattle with what's happened with them more than it is with Kansas City. But the Kansas City bit cannot be ignored. But the other thing, too, is, you know what? The last couple of weeks, they haven't looked great, and they've won 2 games out of those 3 that they haven't looked great, and they've already clinched the playoff spot. So that's what I think is the only play here. Kansas City minus 10 for at least for 4 out of the 5 of us, but we're all in agreement that the Chiefs, I think, are going to win in this one. Hank, it's an Adam Amin, Mark Schlereth, Christina Pink special on the NFL on Fox. It is the New York Giants taking on Kirk Cousins and the Vikings, and the Vikings are 4.5-point favorites in this spot.
All right, so again, 4.5. I got to tell you, I did not think that I would even be entertaining the idea of picking the Giants to win this game, and I'm still not sure I want to do it. But let me just say this. I do feel better about their chances after the turn of events that happened last week. And I'm not just talking about the Giant game. I'm talking about the Vikings. Like, we are seeing more and more how vulnerable the Vikings are. However, as much as I want to at least pick the Giants to cover, because that 4.5-point spread is kind of tempting, I can't do it. And the reason why is because as good of a job as our corners did on Terry McLaurin, how are you going to stop Justin Jefferson without Adoree Jackson? That's what it all comes down to. But I'm going to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants somehow pulled it off. I don't think this is going to be the week for them to clinch a playoff spot, even though it could realistically happen. And why it could happen would be if, say, the Giants were to win this game, the Seahawks and any combination of the Seahawks, Lions, and football team or Commanders, whatever.
There's a lot of scenarios that have to go the Giants' way.
Those can be how the Giants would clinch a playoff spot. I just don't think this is going to be the week where it happens.
This is a tough football game. I mean, you said it already. Justin Jefferson is probably, or I shouldn't even say probably, he is the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Oh, no doubt.
I would say him and Stephon Diggs are up there as a 1-2 right now. TJ Hawkinson, who they also acquired, big offensive tight end. That's a lot of weapons for the Giants defense to stop. Like this is and I don't know, you might know this better than me, guys, but the Giants have a struggle with a lot of offensive weapons when they really have to play off the ball. So
I would tend to agree with that, and proof is in the Cowboys game, and look, I sat in some not so great weather to see them get clobbered by the Philadelphia Eagles, and look at the offensive weapons they have. I mean, you can say what you want about the play of Jalen Hurts, but the reason I don't think he's an MVP, I mean, look who else he's got. Miles Sanders and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, all those guys pretty much torched the Giants defense. But again, all things considered, that defense is doing pretty well. And hey, maybe we'll get another monster performance from Kayvon Thibodeau. I mean, look, I'm going to read the stats right here with regards to Kayvon Thibodeau and what he did in that game. 12 tackles, 3 of them for a loss, a sack, a forced fumble, a quarterback hit, and then, of course, he had the strip sack touchdown.
Which was incredible, by the way, that play.
Do you want to know the scary part?
What was it?
Those stats could have been a little bit better. I mean, look, I said this in the recap of the Giants win with Tom on the Big Blue Avenue YouTube channel. You can't say that the Commanders were hosed out of a win because of the Darnay Holmes no call when Kayvon Thibodeau was literally about to sack Taylor Heineke before the play, but he gets poked in the eye. That should have been, so if you really want to get technical, that should have been offsetting penalties. Kayvon Thibodeau should have had one more sack, and I also say that Washington was lucky to even get that playoff, because I think Heineke probably would have lost that ball again too.
Right. And that was an interesting play. Like I said, Hank, you and I were talking about that, how it looked like there was a bear hug in the end zone that everyone was complaining about. I agree with you, though. He did get poked in the eye. So it probably at worst, or at best, I should say, should have been offsetting penalties. You just do the play over again, and then you hope for the best after that. But in this case, the one argument I'll give you in this case is the Vikings have not looked great the past couple of weeks. They have not.
Right.
They've struggled defensively, not offensively, defensively.
But
and
I agree with you, but here's the thing, and here's my counter argument to that. The Giants offense does not quite have the weapons that some of the other teams that Minnesota played against have. Like, you're not dealing with an Amon-Ra St. Brown. You're not dealing with a Matt Ryan and some of the guys that he has. I don't think that they are facing as tough. I think again, you look at the Giants receivers compared to all those other teams, they have what Tom would call a group of DoorDash receivers. I'm talking about mine. I'm talking about
I love that saying, though. It's great.
And obviously, an indirect shout out to Big Blue Avenue, but
yeah,
absolutely, that show, I can't help it.
It's such a great. I've told you for weeks. I think that saying is great. But long story short, I'm taking the Vikings. I just on the offense alone, I think the Giants are going to struggle defensively. I don't think it's going to be a dominant cover, if that's what you're asking me. I think it'll be a 7, like it'll be a touchdown cover. I think that at
Right.
most.
What
Makes sense.
what do Nick and Tom both have?
So Tom has the Vikings covering and lock, which I found interesting, by the way.
Okay.
And Nick has the Vikings. So,
Oh, geez, guys, I'm gonna be the lone wolf this week again. I'm absolutely taking the Giants plus 4.5 in this spot. Because
upset special.
You know what? I can see the Giants winning this, and there are a few reasons that are going to do that, and there's also the same reasons why I'm absolutely going to at least grab, at the bare minimum, going to grab the 4.5 with the Giants here. First off, this line has come up about a point or two since it opened, which is one positive sign. But let's look at the Vikings I think this is going to be more play on what the Vikings are versus the Giants here. Vikings have clinched their division already, while the Giants are playing for a wild card spot.
So you think they're going to rest players?
Well, they don't really have much to be playing for, so it could be. So maybe they're not going to be playing with that much urgency as they would, let's say, in weeks past. And also, let's look at Minnesota's defense. It's a major issue in this spot. If there's a spot for the Giants to get right offensively, I think that's why they could at least hang around in this one because of the Minnesota defense. And guys, also, the plus 2 point differential for the Minnesota Vikings is no fluke. I mean, it's like that for a reason. And we saw that they were down 33-0 against the Colts. Almost any other team, they're not coming back in that spot, to be fair. I mean, it's not a knock on them. It's really more a knock on Indy. But even if, let's say, this is 27-24 Minnesota, that's what I'm going to go with. So at the bare minimum, I'm going to go against everybody, and I'm going to grab the 4.5 with the football Giants.
So you think this is going to be close all the way through?
I do, and I think the Giants are playing with confidence. That win last week against Washington, I think, is going to put a lot of confidence in this team.
But they had to win last week.
Absolutely, and you know what, though? Not only the win, but the way they won with Kayvon Thibodeau on defense. You know, Daniel Jones did play well, and Saquon Barkley spun some good plays as well. And, yeah, they got fortunate in the end with that no call on the pass interference. But you know what? I mean, that's fair game. I mean, there were penalties missed on both sides of the ball. So.
I still have images of Daniel Jones being tackled with a Washington guy grabbing his face mask. And that
you and I talked about that too, that they should have called that. But not to digress, and we have more picks to get through, but the referees are not calling anything on quarterbacks. They're not protecting the quarterbacks the way they should be.
You know what?
That's how I'll leave it.
Pass interference and roughing the passer have become so inconsistent now. I don't know what the hell they are anymore. I mean, I need to find a rule book and see what exactly it says because they're not following the rule book. It's so inconsistent. But I'm going to differ from everybody. I still think Minnesota's could win, but I don't think it's going to be more than 5 points. So give me the Giants plus the 4.5. And yes, folks, it would not surprise me if the Giants go out there and pull this full upset special out in Minnesota. While everybody else will take Minnesota to win and cover, Tom is going to take that as his lock, which I think is a very interesting play.
I wouldn't even do that.
Yeah, it's hard to lock Minnesota considering the plus minus differentials +2.
You've been on that all year, by the way, so I'll give you credit on that.
It's incredible. I mean, I used the Jeopardy term, and yes, we're going to use a game show reference here. They got out of the red with their win. Peace, Alex Trebek. I challenged our inner Alex Trebek. We miss you every day, Alex. But yes, they got out of the red with their win against the Colts. We'll see what happens in Minnesota on Saturday. It's an Iron Eagle, Charles Davis, Evan Washburn special on the NFL and CBS. Nick, the Cincinnati Bengals take on the New England Patriots with the Bengals a 3-point favorite heading to Foxborough.
Now, we need to talk about that final play at the end of the game. Mm-hmm. The Vegas miracle, I like to call it, where the Patriots just decided, what was it, Jacoby Myers, who was trying to throw the ball backwards and there was no reason. Take the damn tie.
I don't know what he was thinking about.
You have nothing to lose there. Like, the Raiders have nothing to lose whatsoever. So to them, it was like, all right, we'll take. You're going to throw us the football? We'll take it.
Yeah.
And everyone was yelling at Mac Jones because he didn't tackle. I mean, come on, guys. He's a quarterback. He's not there to
Shouldn't have
tackle.
even been in the position to try to be on the receiving end in the first place.
Right. My
And
point.
Let me just get this straight. You're running with the ball, trying to go to the end zone. You lateral it backwards,
And then you run backwards.
and then you try to ladder it backwards again, except you throw it right into the hands of Chandler Jones, who doesn't it kind of feel poetic that the Patriots had one of their most embarrassing losses happen with a former star that Bill Belichick just got rid of for basically a bag of chips.
I mean, it was bad. It was bad. It was a bad play. Bill Belichick, by the way, did not. Bill Belichick had his standard postgame press conference. It was a bad play. It's not Patriots football, and we're off to Cincinnati. Ironically,
Yeah.
by the way,
are we sure that Bill Belichick should still be coaching at this point? I'm sorry.
He's gonna coach until he doesn't want to coach anymore. He earned that right, essentially.
This is not on Belichick.
Probably not. No.
But this is not on Belichick. I mean, this is not.
No, but I've seen. Yeah, but you look at the coaching staff that he's put together. Like, I'm sorry, with
Matt Patricia.
How on earth do you have Matt Patricia and Joe?
I mean, he was a washed-up, failed coach in Detroit, and then he comes back to the Patriots and is failing being the offensive play caller.
By the way, do you want to know a fun fact? Josh McDaniels is 2-0 against Bill Belichick.
Wait, really?
2009, they beat the Patriots when they started 6-0.
That's right.
Wow. But I think the Bengals are the better team in this situation. Mac Jones looks horrible, but I don't blame him for it. I blame Matt Patricia for all the issues with Mac Jones, even though he could be playing better. Bengals cover.
Hank, what do you think?
Oh yeah, no, give me the Bengals. I'm obviously going to ride with the hot hand and Joe Burrow, and that's the guy who I think. I don't know why not.
Disrespect the Bengals.
Well, not only that, don't disrespect Joe Burrow. How are not enough people talking about him as MVP candidate?
You're right, absolutely,
definitely. So I'll channel my inner Tom Albano here. Don't disrespect the Bengals, and only laying 3 points on the road is a safe enough bet. Patriots have issues on offense. Bengals may have some defensive injuries, but I think Joe Burrow is going to continue to play well in this spot. And by the way, also going back to that game last week, I mean, that call at the end from Kenny Albert and Jonathan Vilma, I mean, that's highlight material. That's one of the calls of the year there. Those two guys are the best. And so are Ian and Charles, and of course, Evan on the sideline in this one. Yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say here. I'm going to take Cincinnati, who's playing red hot right now. They could keep it going in this spot up in Foxborough.
This is an official clean sweep across the board. All money here.
Yeah, I mean, if there was a half point for Cincinnati, maybe you could see the hook. Maybe you see the Patriots cover, but I just don't see it here. I think Cincinnati keeps it going, and that's what it's going to be. So a clean sweep up in Foxborough for all of us. Hank, it's Andrew Catalon, James Lofton, and Amanda Renner on the NFL and CBS. It's the Houston Texans and Tennessee Titans. In Nashville, the Titans a 3-point favorite.
Oh boy, I mean, I could be tempted to take the Texans. No, why would I be taking the Texans?
This is so obvious. I don't think there's any conversation here. Titans.
Oh,
would it necessarily even surprise me if the Texans?
You're not, Johnny. You're not going to do what I think you're going to do, are you?
So I will tell you this.
No, I'm taking
earlier. If we did these picks a day before, I would have grabbed the Texans with the points because they were getting 5. But this line has come all the way down to 3. But I'll tell you why I have a case to make here for the Texans. Which of these two teams has been playing better the last few weeks?
Probably the Texans.
Houston. The idea.
I mean,
actually,
you know what? They almost beat the Cowboys, right? I mean, if it wasn't for the Cowboys, I mean, they would have beaten them, and they took Kansas City to overtime. But they're just lacking so much here, and I'm only laying 3 points. Again, if this was 5, I would grab the points there, but they're playing a team that's desperate in Tennessee. That is the problem, and we don't know about Ryan Tannehill's status, so it may even be Malik Willis. I still think Derrick Henry's going to go off in the spot. So I'm still going to take Tennessee because the lines come down. I am going to take Tennessee to win and cover against the Texans.
Wait, Hank, were you about to change it?
You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna change it. I'm going with the Texans.
Whoa!
And do you want to know why?
Why?
I
Because
convinced
they
you.
actually came pretty close, and the Titans have not looked great in the past few weeks.
Yeah.
It's not wrong. You
I-
definitely have an argument for it.
5 points, though, is I have at least a little cushion, but 3 means that I'm basically needing the Texans to win this game outright.
Well, it's a pick 'em. Anything that's a pick 'em, it's hard to pick someone below the cover.
22-20 Tennessee maybe in this spot. I don't know. But oh man. Nah. God, this is so tough. And now I don't know. What did the other two? What did you guys pick? I know you took Tennessee.
I took the Titans, and the guys also took the Titans.
Well, we'll do show versus show here. I'm gonna join Hank here and take. I'm gonna go back to the Texans train here. I had him at +5, but for this one, it's gonna be +3. I'm gonna do it. I don't like the
Double horns.
Double horns. So that's what we'll do here. Again in Tennessee. Nick, it's a Kevin Harlan, Trent Green, Melanie Collins special on the NFL and CBS. It's the Washington Commanders and San Francisco 49ers. Yes, folks, that is not an error. That is an NFC matchup that will be on CBS. And the Commanders are getting a touchdown at Levi Stadium.
Yeah, this is another one where I don't really need to say much about it. Commanders are the heavy favorite, even with is Purdy back and playing? Is he starting?
Yes.
Even though that's a weird sentence to say, considering they have two quarterbacks now that are done for the year with horrible injuries. Yeah, take the money. The Niners are the much better team in this situation.
Hank, what do you think?
No, I'm totally with you there. Give me the Niners.
So since we have a crossover here, I will channel my inner ETB here. This will be my lock of the week, and I will take the 49ers to win and cover here. Washington struggling on offense, which is never a good thing against a 49ers defense that's the best in the NFL, and the 49ers have 4 extra days of rest in this spot. So I don't think this is going to be pretty at all. Purdy gets it done. Mr. Irrelevant stays relevant here, and the 49ers win and cover at Levi Stadium.
Clean sweep.
Yeah, I thought so. Well, this NFC East matchup is going to be a very interesting one to watch there on Christmas Eve afternoon and late window. Nick, it's Kevin Burkhardt, Greg Olsen, Aaron Andrews, Tom Rinaldi special on the NFL on Fox. Looks like it's going to be Gardner Minshew and the Philadelphia Eagles taking on Dak Prescott's Cowboys, and the Cowboys are 5-point favorites.
Yeah, and this is going to sound horrible. I think Gardner Minshew is going to win this game against the Cowboys. I really do. I think Dak Prescott is one of the worst quarterbacks under pressure. I don't think I know they're 10-4 or whatever they are now. What are they? Because we're in week 16. What are they? 10-5 or 11-4? Whatever. I heard Stephen A. on First Take make a ridiculous take the other day saying he thinks that the Cowboys are not going to win a playoff game. I happen to agree with him on this one, Virgin. I don't think they win a playoff game. I just don't think they couldn't beat the Eagles before. I still think the Eagles are a better team. Upset special Eagles.
Hank?
Yeah, clean sweep. I actually have the Eagles destroying or still winning against the Cowboys. And the reason that I say that is because, look, I told you guys I don't think Jalen Hurts is as much of an MVP candidate as you think. Take him off that team. You can still win with Gardner Minshew. And why is that? Because you have Miles Sanders, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. That defense is arguably one of the best in the league. I mean, there's a reason a lot of people think the Eagles could win the Super Bowl, myself not included, and that's not because I'm a hater. Give me Philly.
All right.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I think the Cowboys can win, but I don't know if they're going to win by more than 5 points. when I look at this, because their defense has not been playing great here these last couple of weeks. Dak has thrown like 10 turnovers, it seems like, or 7 turnovers the last several games. Man, I tell you what, I mean, that's a lot of points to lay with Dallas in this spot. And I know that it looks like it's going to be Minshew, but I think the Cowboys win by field goal. So I'm going to grab the points. I'm going to agree with you guys. Take the Eagles in this spot.
Let's see. Oh, so Nick actually is not a full money cover this week because he took the Eagles.
And I know you're big. Oh, I'm sorry. Go. What does Tom have?
Tom is a Cowboys no cover.
So Tom and I agree. We're both going to take the Cowboys to win, but the Eagles to cover. So we're all taking the Eagles, just in different ways, though.
Yeah.
In this spot. And I thought it was very interesting because this line opened up as the Cowboys favored, albeit by 2 points. But it's shot up ever since the Jalen Hurts injury. But I thought that was very interesting that the Cowboys opened up as a favorite in this spot, which, given the way they played and the way the Eagles have played. But it was brief. Now it's gone up to 5. So even if the Cowboys win by field goal, that's good enough. So we'll all take the Eagles, just in different ways here. Well, obviously, this is going to be an emotional game given the news of Franco Harris's passing. So we'll see how the emotions play in this spot. As the Las Vegas Raiders take on the Pittsburgh Steelers at Aquashore Stadium. Nick, it's Rich Eisen, Kurt Warner, Steve Mariucci, Michael Irvin, Steve Weiss, Allison Williams on the NFL Network, and the Steelers a 2.5-point favorite.
Why don't we just send the whole NFL Network to call the game at this point? By the way, Rich Eisen sounded really good calling the game. What was it, last week?
Yeah, him and Kurt were there for the Ravens and the Browns.
He's really good at it. They should really consider him for more games in the future, like giving him a spot maybe. Yeah, this is just a bad game on paper. Just in general, this is 2 bad teams.
The only thing of significance about this game doesn't even have to do with the game itself. It has to do with the historical significance, if you don't mind me going on about that. So,
sure.
Obviously, this Friday will mark the 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception, but sadly, we just received the news that Franco Harris passed away days before he would have had his number retired on the anniversary of said play. And there was so much in my mind regarding the Immaculate Reception, and at the risk of going on a tangent, I am going to say that was by far the most memorable play in NFL history. And why do I put it ahead of plays such as the Alan Amici scoring the 58 NFL championship game, Bart Starr scoring the winning touchdown in the Ice Bowl, the catch, and even the tuck rule? Simple. You will never see another play like this one that has so much mystery and so much controversy surrounding it. And I've heard both sides of the argument as for whether or not the touchdown was legal or whether it shouldn't have counted. I mean, granted, some of that has come from Raider fans who feel that, like, you know, it hit Fuqua and then landed in the hands of Franco Harris. But in my personal opinion, and I'm just going to give you the cliff notes of it, it hit Tatum first. And the reason I say that, there's no way the ball would have deflected into Franco Harris's hand had it
exactly.
Not. And if you look at what Tatum did, he was clearly trying to send Frenchie Fuqua to the hospital as opposed to doing what he should have done and tried to either intercept it or deflect it.
It's like they said, if he had broken stride at all, he's not catching that deflection either. Like everything had to go perfect angle wise to make that play happen.
And that too is another reason why you'll never see a play like that again, or even like the whole circumstances, especially with replay. And so no, I don't want to hear from any Raiders fan or Steeler hater that the league was out to get them. If that were true, you wouldn't have won 3 subsequent Super Bowls.
Right. Exactly. You're right.
You wouldn't have benefited from other bad calls that happened. Again, I can go on and on about NFL history, but you know where I'm going with that.
You're right. The storylines for this game are off the field, not on the field. That's how bad the game on the field is.
And I'm sorry, you know how much I love NFL history.
Me too. In this case, though, I just think the Raiders are such a mess. But then you have why am I forgetting the quarterback's name all of a sudden? The Steelers.
So Kenny Pickett's going to be back.
Pickett.
Yeah, he's going to be back for this one, which I think is very, very important.
And I think if that's the case, I think they win this game. So I'm going to take them barely to cover. Barely.
Yeah, you're only asking them to win by a field goal.
As far as my pick for this game, see, every time I pick who do I trust less? Just give me the Steelers. Give me the Steelers. It's going to be their tribute day. Just give me the Steelers.
It's gonna be some scene over there in Pittsburgh on Saturday night at Aqua Shore Stadium. Definitely gonna be emotional at halftime when they raise Franco Harris's number to the stands, because that was the plan, and it's gonna go on as normal. But under these situations, I can't even imagine what they're gonna be going through here. But as far as the game itself goes, I think the unit that you trust in this, that you go with in this one, is the Steelers defense. And I think that's what's going to ultimately win them this game. Kenny Pickett got it. You just hope that he gets this game healthy and doesn't go through concussion protocol again. But Nick, only laying 2.5 points in this one. That's why I'm going to take the Steelers. So the three of us are going to agree Steelers to win and cover in what was dubbed the Holiday Classic Saturday night on the NFL Network.
Let's see what the guys have. The guys had. Let's see. The guys had. I see Tom has the Raiders in an upset city.
Okay.
Now, who did
Raider offense has been playing better. Now they got their full complement of guys back. Like Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow for sure. Yeah.
Looks like Nick forgot to pick this game. All right, I guess we don't have that pick.
So stay tuned, folks. That's what I'll say on that. As long as he gets it in by Saturday at 8:15 at 8 o'clock Eastern, we'll be good to go. But that'll be a good crew there too. We love Rich, Kurt, always with his jacket. Steve and Michael are good. Steve Weiss on the sideline, and it's good to see Allison Williams back on the sideline again as well. So full.
Wait, was she the one that had the controversy at ESPN?
Yeah, but she's been on the sidelines for college football on Fox this year, and she's done a phenomenal job. She was actually there at the Pac-12 championship with Gus and with Gus and Joel. So if you're watching college football on Fox this year, you have seen her. So it's good.
She's really good. She's really good.
Allison Williams is one of the best. And when I heard her story, I was bummed that she was leaving ESPN, but I'm glad she's landed at Fox and she's got another opportunity. So that's good there. And you know what? Because everybody's going to be playing after this week, the final 2 weeks, we might even get her on an NFL game on Fox too, because they're going to have 6 or 7 crews at least in the final 2 weeks. So best thing to do, folks, keep watching our Football Fridays and you'll find out. So at least 3 out of 5 of us are going to take the Steelers to win and cover in what should be a very, very emotional scene there in Aqua Shore Stadium on Saturday night. All right, let's get to some Christmas Day football. Joe Davis, Daryl Johnston, Pam Oliver special on Fox. It is Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers trying to keep their playoff hopes alive, going to Miami to take on Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins. And Hank, the Dolphins 3.5-point favorites.
The Miami Dolphins being 3.5-point favorites. Well, look, I think they're a team that definitely can turn this around. I know the Packers technically still have a shot, and I wouldn't be surprised if they somehow either upset somebody else and played spoiler. This is not going to be the week. Give me Miami.
Yeah, I mean, well, one, I have to do this.
RELAX.
It can't be a football pick show without Aaron Rodgers getting his voice heard.
That's right.
Excuse me. Yeah, the Dolphins have been in a little bit of struggle mode the past couple weeks.
Losses, yep.
Now, is this the week to return to the dominance against Aaron Rodgers? Now, Aaron Rodgers had a very awkward press conference over the last week saying that, we have a chance to make the playoffs. Last time I checked, it was 12% chance to make the playoffs. Let's slow roll here, Aaron. Come on, you beat who'd they play last week?
The Rams on Monday night.
You beat the backups of the Rams. Let's not go off on a tangent, as Hank would say, and say that they're playing one of the better teams of football. All right, the Dolphins are one of the better teams of football. So, no, Dolphins cover. This is easy.
I think this is going to be a shootout this week. This could be this might be the highest scoring game of the week. It just has that. It has that making. But Packers are playing a short week after playing on Monday night. Dolphins probably in their last 3 weeks. Last week, they've had actually an additional day because remember they played last Saturday in that triple header. They actually played probably the best they've played in the last few weeks, which They totally exceeded my expectations in snowy Buffalo there. I thought that was going to be a big problem. They actually played pretty well up there. So now they go back down to a more familiar setting in Miami at home. Packers are desperate, but Dolphins got to get right here, and I think they do. I think this is going to be a shootout. So I'm going to – Hook scares me, but got to go with it. I'm going to take Miami -3.5 on Christmas afternoon.
Yeah.
And what do Tom and Nick have?
So for Packers Broncos, Tom had he has the money, so the Dolphins.
Dolphins, okay.
And Nick has the Dolphins.
And Hank, what did you say?
I had the Dolphins. Well,
you did. All right. So it's a clean sweep.
Wow, look at that.
In Miami. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson on the NFL on CBS. It is the Denver Broncos and Los Angeles Rams.
Wait a minute. Did someone say Broncos? There was a little present that was sent into the show. Let's take a look.
Broncos country. Broncos country. Broncos country. Let's ride. Broncos country. Broncos country. Broncos country. Let's ride.
I mean, you can't say
Broncos
that.
country. Broncos country.
I mean, what? Bravo, Tom, right there.
Oh my God, how do I follow that? When I go back and play the last time all of us were together, and he had that other graphic with the Broncos, every time that comes up, I swear my face turns so red. I mean, it's turning brighter than Santa Claus right now.
He sent it to me, and he's like, "You have to play this," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'll definitely play that."
Oh God, I'm going to save that for the rest of my life. But the Broncos are the favorites in this one, guys. They're laying 2.5 at SoFi Stadium. I'm going to go first, and I am going to break my own rules here because there's not much to break down. So just take the team with the best unit of the 4. That's the Broncos defense. I'm going to take them minus the 2.5. I'm sorry, Nick Fodera. I know we kind of made a contract about this, but I'm going to break it this week.
Hey, you broke the rules.
Yes, I did. By the way, that only applied to Nick, not me.
Well, okay, fine. But yeah, I don't know what this is, a dumpster fire game, and they're putting it in a prime time on a Sunday.
Well, let's also remember this is not only going to be with Jim, Tony, and Tracy. This is also going to be on Nickelodeon with I think it's Noah Eagle and Nate Burleson and two other people.
So, do you want to hear Tom's description of this? Because this was hilarious.
Please go for it.
So, one, he said, "Stay far away from this game. I can't believe we're going to show this game to the kids on Nick, who are being introduced to football. They'll turn away with these two garbage teams. Bronc-ho-ho's country, let's ride. But I'll take the Rams in an upset."
Oh, you can't say that and then go with the Rams, though. Who did you take, Nick?
I haven't decided yet. This is bad. You would think that you would take the Broncos, but Russell Wilson's a dumpster fire. You know what? I'm going to jump with Tom on this one and take the upset.
Hank, go for it.
I flipped the coin, went with the Broncos.
Good choice. And Nick Fodera took the...
He took the Rams.
Oh, so ETB is all going with the Rams, and Game On will all ride with Broncos Country. Let's ride. It's a Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, Melissa Stark special, if you could say that, on Sunday Night Football on Christmas night on NBC. It is Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on Trace McSorley and the Arizona Cardinals, and Hank, the Broncos. I should say the Buccaneers. Boy, I got Denver on my mind again. The Bucks, that line's gone up. It's a 7.5-point favorite for the Buccaneers.
7.5 points for the Buccaneers, you say? I'm gonna be very bold. Cardinals will cover that, but they'll still lose to the Buccaneers.
Oh.
Hank and I are absolutely agree on this. I am done taking Tampa Bay. They can win, but I'm not taking them to cover.
I don't care how bad the Cardinals are.
Trace McSorley, baby, he's going to have some moments. Give me, not really, but I don't.
Are you taking upset special?
I'm going to take the half upset special.
Oh.
The Bucks win, but I'm going to take the Cardinals plus the 7.5. Tampa Bay guys are just an absolute mess. I mean, maybe this is the best thing is they're playing a third-string quarterback, but Trace McSorley, I know Tom's happy about the Trace McSorley train too. But, yeah, Arizona's got some offense too, guys. So, I mean, that game last week was a dumpster fire against a good defense there in the Broncos. I'm going to grab them with the points. Give me the Bucs to win, but Arizona plus the 7.5.
I'm about to break my rule again for the second time this week.
Okay.
Bucks win, Cardinals cover.
Oh, so that's 3. And what about Tom and Nick?
Let's see. Tom's got the Bucks, no cover.
4.
And Nick has the Bucks.
All right, so Nick Fodera will be the lone wolf on Sunday Night Football.
He's definitely a lone wolf, all right.
Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, and Lisa Salters on Monday Night Football on ESPN. It's Justin Herbert and the Chargers taking on Nick Foles and the Indianapolis Colts. And the Chargers, a 5-point favorite in this one.
Ugh.
Keeps going up and up. Hank, what do you think?
I think I think you can at least justify because Justin Herbert. But either way, Chargers should be a lot better, and that guy has been bailing him out, even though funny how people call him out for not being as good, despite the fact that he doesn't have a second job on defense. But regardless, give me the Chargers, and that very well could be the end of the Jets and the Patriots with that win.
Actually, you're leaving out one more factor as well. No Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, yep. Then give me the Chargers.
That's absolutely why I'm taking the Chargers to win and cover in this one. Nick Foles' best player is out for the rest of the season. I don't. The problem is the Chargers, even last week, though, guys. I mean, this was the game that Hank and I both pushed in against the Titans. They won the game, but they didn't play well again. And again, that's just concerning to me. But they've got to get it going here at some point, and I think this is the way to do it. That game last week against the Colts is the kind of game that just puts teams in a death spiral. And the Colts are just basically hanging on for dear life here. I mean, they're going to Nick Foles, who might actually play all right, but without Jonathan Taylor, I don't see it happening. I'm taking the Chargers to win and cover.
Yeah, this is a complete sweep across the board. Yeah, and like I said before, no Jonathan Taylor, no win. This is an easy one.
Yeah, and Nick and Tom are both taking the Chargers. Yep. All right, so it's a clean sweep along the blinds. And Jonathan Taylor, once again, that story of running backs that, you know what, great first year, rough second year. We know that with Saquon Barkley. But that will put a bow on Week 16 of the National Football League season. Just an unbelievable, it'll be a crazy few days of football starting Thursday, going into Christmas Eve Saturday, Christmas Day Sunday, and, of course, on Monday. So we'll find out what happens. Big week for a lot of teams in the National Football League. Hank and I will be back on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern for the Best of Game On Part 2. We will have our final college football Monty Molman dropping next week as well as we get you set for the 2 semifinals and the national championship game. And then we will all be back again next week for Week 17 in the National Football League as we close out 2022. So, guys, you all have a safe Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, all that good stuff.
Yep, you too. You guys have a good holiday, and hopefully we can actually have good records.
Yep, absolutely. It's that kind of week. Hank, enjoy your holiday. Everybody get some nice rest. Be with families and enjoy the time and celebrate. So, for Nick Morgasen, Hank Indictor, Nick Fodera, Tom Albano, and everybody here on the Empty the Bench Podcast Network, I'm Johnny Montalbano. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, everybody, and we'll talk to you again next week.